Okay. People who are late can catch up. Right. So we're going to do a little bit of revising in terms of the ledger lines and how to write ledger lines, and then how to identify notes that are on ledger lines. So I want to start by doing a little bit of revision from the previous week where we were working on the note names. We're in the treble clef at the moment. Can any of you remember what is the rhyme for the lines of the treble clef? What's the little rhyme that I taught you about naming the notes from the bottom going up?
Every good boy.
Yes. Every good
Boy
deserves
food.
food. That's it. E, G, B, D, F. Okay. And for the spaces, what do they spell?
Space.
F, A, C, E. All right. So that only limits us to the lines, the 5 lines and the 4 spaces that are written here. But we can go up one more space above and one more space below the stave. If we go up one from the F here, we get to the next space up, F, G. So this note over here is G. And if we go down one note to the next space down, it's E, the line E. So this note here is D. Basically what ledger lines do is they just extend the stave a little bit longer. So if you look at this next note over here, you'll see that there is a little line here. That's just imagining that we are extending the stave and making it longer. Okay, so this is just above the stave there. You can imagine now that we've got a space here, a line here, space, line, space, line. So that's what ledger lines do. They just extend the stave up. But instead of writing long lines like this, we just limit them to the note itself. Okay, so the musical alphabet goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So this one is G. What will the next line be over here?
A.
A, yes. And the next space?
B.
B, yes. The next line?
C.
C. Next space? D.
D.
Yes. And this one? The next line? E, correct.
E.
Okay, do you see that we just basically alternating between line, line, space, line? Okay?
Yes.
You happy with that?
Yes.
All right. Now, if we go down, we're going in reverse this time. Here's D. The next one down must be
It's a C.
C. Yes.
C.
And this one? The next space down?
B.
D. Yes. This one?
Then A.
A.
A. Good. Next one?
G.
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 Okay. And the last one?
F.
F. Good. Okay, the same principle is happening here. We're basically just extending the stave, drawing extra lines on the stave. And they go space, line, space, line, space, line. You can keep on going like that. You can keep on going further down, and you can keep on going further up. All right.
Yes, sir.
Are you with me with that?
Yes.
All right. Now, what I noticed when some of you were doing the worksheet was when you are writing the ledger lines, some of you were just writing one ledger line for all of the notes. So for example, let's say I asked, please write the note E above. And many of you just wrote this. Okay, if we look up here, we'll see that that note is actually
A.
A. A. If we want to get up to E, we have to have 1, 2, 3 lines. Do you see that? So we have to do this. 1, 2, 3. Then we put the note up there. Okay, that make a little bit more sense to you because some of you were getting stuck. You wrote this note for all of the notes, as though if you were going above the stave, there was only one type of note. All right, it's very important that we be able to go up from line to space, so that we can identify the notes correctly. All right, so now we are going to attempt, if you've got your worksheet 9 in front of you, we're going to do not the first question because that one was quite simple and most of you got that all correct. We're going to look at the one at the bottom of page 73. So we're looking at the one that says, write these notes as minims on the treble clef. So let's do that. All right, the first one says E above the stave. So this is what I do when I need to try and work out what the notes are in ledger lines. I first go here, the one just above the top line is G, so I write G here. And then I just write lots of ledger lines over here. And I count up from them. E, the first line is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that I know if a note comes on the line, it's an A. If it comes in the space, it's a B. If it's the next line, it's a C, D, E, F, G. So I just make that little pattern there so that it's easy for me to work out which notes are which. All right. And I see here when I count up the side, A, C, E, that it's the third line up. 1, 2, 3. And that will be E above the stave. The stave is just these lines here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anything above the stave, you're going to have to add lines to. Anything below the stave, you're going to have to add lines to. All right, the next one was G below the stave. So we can do the same thing over here with a little picture. I just draw lots of lines down. There's G, C, B, A, G, F, E, D. You see how I do that? I put the letter names of the lines next to the line and the ones of the spaces in the space itself. Then it's easy for me to see how it works. So I'm looking for G below the stave. And I see that G is over here. So I have to write 1, 2 lines. And then I put the note over there. You see that I don't have to write the little line underneath like that. You don't have to write the line underneath the note. You just leave it like that.
Would it be wrong if I do put the line underneath?
Yes.
Okay.
So rather don't put the line at all, okay?
All right.
Just leave it without the line. So when you're working with spaces above and below the stave, if it's below the stave, you don't put the line underneath it. And if it's above the stave, you don't put the line above it. You'll see some more examples in a moment, okay?
Okay, sir.
The next one was middle C. Middle C is an easy one. It is just on line, the note around, okay? It's just below the stave. Then it said A above the stave. If we go back to our little picture here, the first line is A. So we write one line is A. All right. Then it said D above the stave. If I look at my picture, I see that D is in the space. So the D would be 1, 2 lines. There's the D. And you notice that I didn't put a line on the top.
Mhm.
No line on the top. It's just
Yes.
like
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and then the last one was F below the stave. I see that that's F over here, and that's 1, 2, 3 lines. So I go 1, 2, 3, and I add the note there. Does that help you now?
Yes.
Okay. It's important that you be able to do this because in your assessment, not next week, but the week after, you're going to have to identify notes on the stave, but you're also going to have to write notes on the stave. And you must be able to do this very quickly because eventually you need to be able to read these notes as though you are reading words in a book, okay, as quickly as possible. So make sure that you are familiar with these exercises and you can do them quickly. Now the bass clef, it works in exactly the same way. So we'll do a bass clef example now. Let me just find where I'm at. If you turn over the page onto 74, you'll see the next question, which is for the bass clef. And I'm going to do that for you now as well. So here's the bass clef. And like before, I'm going to make a little picture for myself. Can you remind me what the notes of the bass clef are for the lines? What is the rhyme for the lines?
Good boys deserve food always.
That's right. Good boys deserve food always.
Always.
Okay. And the spaces?
All cows eat grass.
Yes, that's right.
All cows eat
eat grass.
grass.
All right. So if this note, if the top line is A, this note over here is going to be just above the stave. B, correct. This note is B. So we can say here B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. You see how I've drawn this little picture here?
Yes.
That's a very helpful little picture when you are trying to work out notes above, but we can also use it for working out notes below. So what would this note be? Here is the bottom line is G. What would the note just before G be?
A.
F.
F.
A, remember A is up here in the first space. There's A. Okay, if we go below G, we have to have F. Let's look at the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's the musical alphabet. If we're on G and we're moving one step lower, we're going to get to F. Okay, so this note over here is F. So we can write F, then E, D,
E.
C,
C. B. A.
that's right, B and A. Right, so now we have our little picture.
C.
All right, and the question asks, firstly, G above the stave. So if we look above the stave, 1, 2, 3, the line above is G. So 1, 2, 3,
3.
there's G. See how easy it is, okay? Then middle C. There's middle C over there. There's middle C. Now, do you remember when we were looking at the treble clef, middle C is down there, isn't it?
Yes.
But in the bass clef, it's up here. What that shows us is that the bass clef is going to deal with low notes, the notes underneath C, and the treble clef is dealing mostly with notes above C. So it's
Above C.
higher. Okay? All right. Now, the next question was C below the stave. If I look at my picture, the first line is E, the second line is a C. So I write 1, 2 lines is C. Okay. The next one was A below the stave. This one is E, C, A. So it's got 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. It's A. Then it said E above the stave. Working above the stave, there's C, there's E. It's got 2 lines. So we write 1, 2. We put E there. And the last one was E below the stave. There's E, this line over here. It's 1 line only.
1 line.
And we put it in there. Okay. So it's fairly simple once you've got this little technique going. Now, I want to show you a very important thing about accidentals. That is sharps, flats, and natural signs. I saw that most of you are okay with the sharps and the flats, but drawing a natural sign is a little bit more tricky for many of you. So first, let's start with a treble clef. Like this. Who can tell me what note is that I've written over there? A D, correct. It's a D. Now, what is this?
It's a D
D
sharp.
sharp.
D sharp. Now, do you notice that when I draw the sharp sign must go directly through the D line. Okay, if I wrote it like this, there's the D, and if I wrote the sharp sign like this, that's actually on the space. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
It must be on the line. Okay, same with the flat. The flat, by the way, is like a B. You know, if you write big, like that, okay? But it's just a B with a slightly rounded top, like that. So it basically means B anyway. So you write the B, so that it also goes through the line. You see that the line is going directly through it.
Yes.
Okay, the natural sign is a little bit more tricky. Natural sign, you draw an L like that, and then an upside down L. So that it creates a little box. L, and then you do another L upside down like that, and you put them together. L, L. And it's the same here, it must go through the line, like that. Okay, so how do we use these things? Let's say you've got this over here. Okay, so at the moment, I've just drawn a little piano keyboard here. This is C, E, F, G, A, B, and I'll just add C there. C. And these are the black notes here. There's a black note, there's a black note. Okay. What does 4/4 tell us, firstly?
4 notes.
What's that?
4 notes per bar.
4 notes per bar. What
And,
notes?
This
What are those notes? What are these notes called over here? Crotchets, quavers, or minors?
Crotchets.
Crotchets. Yes, they're called crotchets. Okay. So 4/4 tells us the bottom 4 that we're dealing with crotchets, top 4 that we're dealing with 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the bar. So we know that it's right. Okay. What is this first note over here? Can you tell me what the name of the note is?
Flat.
B flat.
B flat. Yes.
B flat.
B flat. What is the next note? C. Yes. What is the next note?
D.
D. Yes. And what is the next note?
D.
This one here.
L3.
B natural. Yes. Okay. So what it means is if we look at this piano keyboard here, there's B. There's B, but it's telling us to play B flat. So it's the black note. Okay. So we have
Yes.
black note. Then we have to play C. We go from that note to that note. All right. And if we had a piano here, I'm sorry, I've just lost my piece of chalk. But if we had another note up here, there would be D over there. We'd go up to D.
Yes.
So B flat, C, D. But when we come to this note over here, it says B natural. So we start B flat, C, D, but we come back to the white note, not the black note. That's what the natural indicates. You with me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. I'm just going to fix some more chalk. I'll be back in a second. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to find a box of chalk. All right, now, if I take that natural sign away, that is B flat, this is C, this is D. What is this note?
It's what you said it.
It's what? Is it B or B flat?
It's
B. Okay, and here's the rule. What happens when you have a flat sign in front of a note? It continues to work even on that note, even though this note doesn't have a flat in front of it. So if it's got a flat over here and there's no natural sign up until here, this is also going to be a B flat.
no. It's
Until you get to the bar line. Here's the bar line. And as soon as we go over the bar line, this one will also be a flat over here. This one is a flat, but this one is just B natural because now the bar line has automatically canceled this one out. You with me?
yes, sir.
Yes.
If you have an accidental in the bar, it is valid for the whole bar until you come to the next bar. So if we had this, we go B flat, C, D, B flat, and in the next bar, B natural.
Be natural.
Yes.
We're all happy with that. It's very, very important
Yes.
that you know how this works, okay? Because when you're working with tones and semitones, you'll need to be able to use these symbols. So here's another thing for you. In one of your questions, you were asked to write a semitone higher. And this is where you'll need naturals and sharps and all of those kind of things. If we've got a B flat and we want to go up a semitone, we have to write B. The flat is underneath, the natural is a little bit higher. So if you can remember this, flat, natural, in fact, let me draw it like this so that you can see. Flat, natural, sharp. If we have a look at the piano keyboard, let's take a note. For example, this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Now, let's take G. Okay, there's G. That's G natural. If there's nothing, if it's playing a white note, it's G natural. If we go up a semitone to the black note over here, this note, it's G sharp. That's going up. If we go one note down to the black note over here, this black note, not that one, we have G flat. So it goes lower. Sharp takes the note up, flat takes the note down, but only by one step. Do you see that? If we count this, this is one, we go up one step to the black note, up one step to the white note, up one step to the black note, up one step to the white note, up another step. See, those are all one step. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you draw this little pattern here, it will help you. Flat is at the bottom, natural's in the middle, sharp is at the top. The only time you use a natural sign, and this is important, the only time you use a natural sign is if you've used either the flat or the sharp before it and you want to cancel it out. Otherwise, notes are considered natural. Okay? So if I
Yes, sir.
There's A, B, G, F. None of them have got a natural sign in front of them, but they are all natural notes.
Natural.
Okay? We would only put a natural in front of one of them if this was the case. Let's say the first one was A sharp, but we wanted this one to be a natural. Then we'd have to put a natural in front of it. Okay. So you will only use a natural sign if there's a sharp or a flat in the bar already, and you don't want that note to be a sharp or flat as well. So if we took this natural sign out, that sharp sign would still affect this note over here. That would also be a sharp. Okay. All right. So now let's go on to the next question. You know how to write sharps and flats and naturals. Now we need to work out about tones and semitones. Now, you will find that you've been given an exercise for singing this week, which is actually, if you've done it, you'll find that it's quite tricky, okay? And it's trying to help you to hear in your mind how big a semitone is and how big a tone is. So I'm going to sing them for you now so you can hear them. Here's a note. Now, if we go up one note, down, that tiny little interval, the semitone. La, la. Now listen to a whole tone. La, la. Here's the semitone. Here's the whole tone. Da, 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 da. Listen to this. Okay. It's quite tricky to sing semitones in a row. Listen to this. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. This is what I'm singing. Okay, those are all semitones in a row. Now listen to the whole tones. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Semitones feel bigger than semitones. The whole tones feel bigger than semitones. They are bigger in space. Now, if you look at a piano keyboard, a white note to a black note is a semitone. La, la. So if I'm going from there to the black note, that's what it would sound like. But if I go to, if we skip the black note out, la, la, then you've got a whole tone. Listen to this. La, 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 la. Can you hear the differences between them? It's quite subtle,
Yes.
but it's very important to be able to sing. Now, here's a little hint for you. If you're practicing to sing these things, if you are right-handed, close up your right ear with one of your fingers, okay, so that you can't hear in this ear, okay? If you talk out loud, you'll hear that you can hear yourself in your head. Then you'll know that you're doing it right, okay? If you do this, then you'll be able to hear yourself in your own head. La, 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 la. If you don't have your finger in your ear, it's a little bit more tricky to hear the difference between the tone and the semitone. So I advise that you stick your finger into your ear. If you are left-handed, you put it into your left ear, okay? All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Practice that hard, because if you can do that, if you can sing a semitone and if you can sing a tone and you know what the difference is, you are already a far way ahead of most people in music, okay? It's the most difficult thing to be able to sing a semitone and then go back to the original note and sing a whole tone. They're very good ear to pick up. But if you practice those, you'll get better and better at it, and you'll find that you'll be able to tune music much more easily. If you're a singer, for example, it'll help you to sing the proper note all the time instead of just below or just above. Okay, so it's a very important technique. If you're an instrumentalist, let's say you play the saxophone or you play the recorder or something like that, if you can sing semitones and tones, you'll also be able to hear if your instrument is in tune with another instrument. So it's a very important technique. Okay. Are you all happy with the idea that going from a white note to the next black note is a semitone, and going from one white note and skipping a note in between and going to the next one is a whole tone?
No.
So a whole tone is worth 2 semitones. Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, good. Now, let's have a look at the questions that I asked about semitones and tones. I'm going to leave this picture of a keyboard here, and in fact, I'm going to leave this here because this is quite helpful. And let's look at all of the ones individually from the treble clef. We have F sharp, a B flat, an E. I will just do those 3 for the moment. Okay, now, F sharp. The first thing when you are doing these exercises of a tone and a semitone is to draw a little piano keyboard like this, okay? It will help you to be able to visualize what's going on. So the first thing we do is we find F sharp on the piano keyboard. Here's the note F, the white note. F sharp is the black note right next to it on the right-hand side. So where the arrow is, over here, this note here, that is F sharp. All right. The question asks us to go up 1 semitone from F sharp. There's F sharp. We go up 1 semitone, it's to the next white note, which is G.
G.
So our answer is G.
G.
Okay. Now let's look at B flat. A lot of you got this question wrong because you were unfamiliar with how the sharp, flats, and natural signs work. But I'll show you how important this is. So we're looking here at the note B flat, B flat. Here is B, so that note over here is B, the white note. B flat is 1 lower. So this black note over here, that is B flat. The question asks us to go up 1 semitone. So if we're on the black note and we go up 1 semitone, we land on the note B. Now remember, if there is a B flat, if there's a flat sign here, if we write another note here, what note is that?
B flat.
B.
It's also a B flat because of this flat here, and there's a bar line only over here. So this is also B flat at the moment. So that would be incorrect. We would have to write
Natural sign.
B natural. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is why it's important to know why you have to have natural signs and flat signs and sharp signs. If the flat sign is there, it's going to affect all of the notes in this bar unless you put the natural sign in front of the note. Okay, now this one is E, the note E. So we go to the piano and we see there is E. Do you notice that there's no black note between E and F? Okay, so if we want to go 1 step up from E, we land on F.
F.
So the answer is F. Okay.
Yes.
Now you will notice that later on, I used the same notes and I asked you to write up a whole tone. So let's have a look at what each of these notes would be if we went up 1 whole tone. two semitones. Remember, one tone,
Mm.
two semitones. So let's start with this one, which is F sharp. Remember, this note over here is F sharp. If we go up two semitones, we start on there, we jump one, we land up on G. If we jump another one up, we get to G sharp.
Sharp.
Okay?
Okay.
So we write the sharp. And there we have it. Okay? Now, B flat. Here's B flat, the black note B flat. We now have to jump two notes up. So we jump one to B. I have to draw the C here. You'll also notice that on the piano keyboard, there's no black note between B and C. Okay? So we're on B flat, we jump up one to B, we jump up another one, we land C.
C.
Our answer is C. Here we've got the note E. So we find E on our piano keyboard. Now remember, we're going up two semitones. So E up one is to F, and up another one is to the black note F sharp.
Sharp.
So the note is F sharp. Now some of you may be asking a question. Note here, G sharp. That note over there. G sharp is also A flat, isn't it? If we look at this note, G sharp, if we look at it from the G side, this black note is G sharp. But if we look at it from this side, from the A side, it's A flat.
A flat.
Okay? Can you remember what it's called from the videos? Can you remember what it's called when one note has two different names?
Enharmonic.
Enharmonic, yes. Okay. So one note can have two names. But here's the important part. When you are dealing with tones, if the question says write one tone higher or one tone lower, you must use the next letter name in your answer for tones. Okay, so if you're dealing with tones and the first note is an F and it says write up one tone, you must go to the next letter name, F, G. The answer will have to be G sharp. It cannot be A flat because a tone doesn't move two notes up, two letter names up. Okay? So if you start on F sharp and you're dealing with tones, you must go to the next letter name, which is G. You with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's pretend that these questions now, did you want to ask something? Did somebody want to ask?
Also.
Okay. Right, let's pretend now that the question says go down a tone from these notes. So here's F sharp. We'll go F sharp, and we're going to go down two jumps. We land on F for the first one. We land on E for the second one. So our answer would be
E natural.
okay. We don't need to write the natural because there's no flat or sharp in front of it, but you're quite correct. The real answer is E natural. You just don't need to write the natural in front of it, okay?
Yes.
Now, B flat. Let's look at what note we would be dealing with if we were going down from B flat. So here's B flat, and we're taking it two steps down. One step gets us to A, the next step gets us to A flat.
Flat.
Now, is the answer in this case A flat, this note here, or G sharp? Remember, this note can be A flat or G sharp. What is our answer going to be over here?
A flat.
A flat, correct. Why is it going to be A flat and not G sharp?
This will be incorrect.
Because if we wrote a G sharp here, it wouldn't be the next letter name down. This is B, and we need to have an A. Okay? Right, here we have an E. Now we need to take it down one whole tone. There is E, it's a white note. E, we go down to the black note, and then another one down, we get to the note D. So our answer is D. Can you see how simple this is if you just work slowly and carefully, making sure that you are jumping up either one step for semitones or two steps for tone?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any questions that you want to ask about tones and semitones so far?
No.
Sifundo, are you okay?
Yes.
Ongani,
Yes,
you
sir.
okay?
Yes, dear.
Nelsiwe,
Yes, sir.
you okay?
Yes.
Have I gone through everybody? Sayalelo, you okay?
Yes, Sam.
You want to be called Elvis. I see you've got Elvis there. Okay. So, you all okay with that?
Yes.
Good. Now let's work on this difficult one called enharmonics, because I see you're getting a little bit confused with enharmonics. So I'm now looking at the question, which is on page 76. It's the second. It says, write down the enharmonic note of the following examples. And I'm going to write them up on the board for us. Who can tell me what that first note is? What is the letter name of this note?
A sharp.
A sharp, correct. So if we go,
A sharp.
thank you. If we go onto the piano keyboard and we look at the piano keyboard, here is A, it's the white note. There is the black note. Okay. Now, if we're looking at it from the A side, it's A sharp. But if we look at it from the B side, what note is it?
What?
B, it's one lower, so it's B flat. Yes, so the enharmonic of A sharp is B flat. So remember, A sharp is when you're looking at it from the note A. B flat is when you're looking at it from the note B.
Yes, sir.
You see here, if we look at this little picture over here with a sharp natural flat, A, you go up one step and you get A sharp. B, you go one step down and you get the flat. All right. So A sharp is the same as B flat. If we played it on the piano, they would be exactly the same note. Okay, that's A sharp. That's also B flat. They're exactly the same note. They just look different on when we write them out like this. Okay. Find that this becomes very helpful at a later stage when you're doing theory in first year, well, not first year, in your second and third years. Okay. So it's a very important technique to be able to understand and grasp at the moment. All right. So this is the enharmonic of the first one. The second question was, in the treble clef, what note is that?
G flat.
Flat, correct. Okay, so we go to the piano, we find G, and we go one step down. There's the G flat. It's this black note here with a star around it, okay? There it is. We're looking at it from the G side. But there's a note on this side also, F. And if we go up a semitone from F, we get F sharp. It gets us to exactly the same note. So G sharp, G flat is the same as F sharp. They are exactly the same note. F upper semitone is F sharp. But if we go from G and we find a semitone, we get the same note, G flat. Happy with that?
No,
Yeah.
can you come again, say? I didn't understand.
You don't understand it? Okay, let me try it again. I think if I draw a slightly bigger piano, it will be a bit easier. All right, can you all see this piano? It's a little bit bigger now. We want to find the note G flat. So here's G, that's the white note. This black note over here, this one, that note is G flat. Okay, you with me?
Yes.
Right. Now, if we're looking at it from there, that is G flat. The black note is G flat. But if we look at it from here, if we go up a semitone from F, F sharp is also the same note. There's F. If we go up one step, we get to F sharp. So F sharp is the same as G flat. There's G flat, there's F sharp. They are the same note.
Oh, yes.
Kundo, are you okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, everybody.
Yes, good.
Right, now let's do this next one. This one is a bit of a trick question. The note is, what note is this in the bass clef?
C.
C.
C, yes. Okay. There's C. There's no black note in between, is there?
Yes,
If
there's
we
no.
look at B and we take B up one semitone, it's also C. So there's B. If I take up B one semitone, I get a C as well. So C is the same as B sharp. Does that make sense? It's a bit tricky, okay? Look again. Here's B. So I'm using B natural, okay? If I go to B sharp, it means I must go one step up. B sharp, one step up, is the same as C.
Oh.
We all okay with that? Yes, no, maybe?
No.
Okay,
No.
let's start with another one. Here's E, right? Can you see the note E?
Yes.
We've got E and F here. Do you see that there's no black note in between them?
Yes.
Yes.
Take one step from E to F. Is it a tone or a semitone? If we go
C.
to F. Somebody,
Semi?
E to F is one semitone because there's no black note in between. So if we step up one from E, we get to F. Okay? You with me
Yes.
down so far? Okay. So if we want the note E sharp, yeah, we want to take E sharp. E sharp, here's E. If we take our normal principle and we take it up one step, we find that the next note is F, correct? So E sharp
Yes.
is also called F. Okay, it's the same note. We've also done E going one step up is F, but we can also call F E sharp because E sharp is one step up from E.
Okay.
Does that make a bit more sense?
Yes.
Yes, sort of.
Yes.
Okay. What you'll need to try here with these enharmonic notes, because they are a little bit tricky at first. We can name all of these notes separate things. If we look at this black note here, it can be C sharp. If we go from 1 up to C sharp to the black note, or 1 down from D is D flat.
D flat.
So this black note here is C sharp or D flat. You happy with that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if we look at this note over here, this black note, if we go up from D1, we get D sharp. But if we come down from E, it's E flat. So this note could be D sharp or E flat. Happy?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and if we did it the same with all of these, we'd find that this next one is F sharp or G flat. This one is G sharp or A flat. And this one is A sharp or B flat. So all of the black notes, it's quite easy to see that they can have two names. But for the white notes, it's a little bit more tricky. So here's E. E can also, if we look at it from the F side, if we step down one semitone from F, if we wanted to say F flat, E is the same as F flat. And if we wanted to go up one semitone from E to F, F is also the same as E sharp. They also have two names. These ones all have two names, and these ones also have two names. E is the same as F flat, and F is the same as E sharp. Okay, you'll just need to play around with this a little bit to get used to it, but always use the piano keyboard as your guide. Remember that if you're on the natural note or if you're on the white note, if you take one step up, even if it lands up on the next white note, it's going to be that sharp. And if you go one down, it's going to be the flat. Okay, so look here. Here's E. If we go down one semitone, we get a black note, that's E flat. If we want to go up one semitone, that's E sharp. So E flat, E sharp, E natural.
Yes.
Does that make a bit better sense now?
Is that only between the two white notes? If there's two white notes and no black notes?
You could do it for any of the notes if you really wanted to. So let's say we were on A upper semitone, A sharp,
Very sharp.
A natural.
Okay.
Okay. But
Okay.
sometimes, so when we're dealing with A, the A sharp is a black note and the A flat is a black note. But that's not always the case. If we're on B, B flat is a black note, but B sharp is a white note.
Okay.
Okay, so it just depends where they are in the pattern of keys.
All right. I understand.
All right. I think you've kind of got it now. It just takes a little while to get you.
Mm.
Have you got any questions that you want to ask about any of these things?
Yes,
No questions? You're all okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So later on this weekend, I'm going to send like a trial test so that if you want to practice for the test in 2 weeks' time, it'll give you a little bit of a test case that you'll see what you will be expected to know for your test and you can practice it a little bit, okay? I'll put this through.
Yes.
And then I'll also put up all of the answers for that test so that you can check if you've got the answers correct.
Yes.
No problem.
Good. If you have any questions during the holiday about preparing for the test, that's fine. You can ask me at any time, okay?
Okay, sir.
Have a lovely holiday, everybody. Welcome to your first holiday at university.
Thank you.
Have a good time. Remember that this holiday is a bit of a rest time for you, but make sure that you are still keeping up with your work. If you've missed any work so far, now is the time to catch it up quickly, okay? You still got catch-up time. You're okay. We don't want any of you to be left behind.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good. Have a lovely break. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Keep well.
Thank you.